Pro Football player Travis Kelce is pressed for time during the football season. So he does two things at once. Whether it's grilling while mowing.
Two things at once!
Or getting this season's updated COVID-19 shot at the same visit as his flu shot.
Two things at once.
You can be like Travis and ask your pharmacist about getting this season's COVID-19 shot at the same visit as your flu shot, if you're due for both, as recommended by the CDC. Learn more and schedule at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
My brother-in-law died suddenly, and now my sister and her kids have to sell their home. That's why I told my husband we could not put off getting life insurance any longer. An agent offered us a 10-year, $500,000 policy for nearly $50 a month. Then we called SelectQuote. SelectQuote found us identical coverage for only $19 a month, a savings of $369 a year.
Whether you need a $500,000 policy or a $5 million policy, SelectQuote could save you more than 50% on term life insurance.
For your free quote, go to SelectQuote.com. SelectQuote.com. That's SelectQuote.com.
SelectQuote. We shop. You save. Full details on example policies at SelectQuote.com/commercials.
Thanks for tuning into our podcast. We love having you here, and it's our mission to bring you all the latest and greatest tips, skills, and know-how to make you the best that you can be. We know that you have it in you, and we're going to show you how. Now, let's get started.
This episode is powered by Poddex.
Thank you for tuning in today. You are now listening to That Will Never Work podcast with your host, Maurice Chisholm. Hey everybody, how are you today? I am glad that you tuned in today. I have such a fabulous show for you today. I have this young man who is very passionate about economics and how to build ourselves, if you will. And he's going to be on almost every channel. I already know that we're going to take it to a whole nother level. But let me explain to you who he is. He is a business owner. He's been in all of our shoes, basically. He is a serial entrepreneur. He is the founder of Profit First and Banking Yourself Professional. And he is the co-host of Wealth Wisdom Financial Podcast with his wife and business partner, Amanda. He is the founder and manager of Overflow Coffee, and managed Overflow Coffee Bar L3C from 2008 through 2018. And he has learned a whole lot. So he's going to share some of that information with us today. I don't want to get too far into it because I'm pretty sure he's going to share all of it with us today. I present to you none other than Brandon Neely. Thank you, Brandon, for coming on the show today, man.
And just so you know, I didn't found Profit First or Banking Yourself.
Okay.
The biggest business owners, entrepreneurs, we take the best and run from people.
Right. You're right about that.
Learn from them. And Mike Michalowicz wrote the book Profit First. Amazing guy. I wish I would have had that book when I first started my coffee shop.
Okay.
However, it was not written yet.
Okay.
In the Banking Yourself method, by Pamela Yellen, that just changed my life too. So
really,
that's why I'm an advocate of both of those things and why I do what I do.
Okay, all right, cool. I appreciate that. So let me ask you, what encouraged you to go into the coffee business, if you will, or shop?
Yeah, so I'm all about making a difference, changing the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
And coffee is the second most widely traded commodity in the world. Americans are the number one consumer, yet the poorest countries were coffee-growing countries. And I grew up in New Orleans.
Oh, wow.
About
Okay.
Local economy that or localism, know your neighbor. And so I wanted to create a place, almost also like Boston, like Cheers, where you know their name, right?
Right.
And so we were like, combine this and change the world at the same time. That would be awesome.
Okay.
I didn't realize that that will never work. Kind of the title of this show. I was like, man, I heard that plenty of times when I started, even in the ideation phase, when we were writing our business plan, 2011, and you know, it did work, but it also, we needed to make some changes, and there were some hard years that we went through during those coffee years.
Wow. So let me ask you this then. You had this organization from 2008 to 2018. And just a real quick, we don't have to go too deep into it, but how hard would it have been for you to continue that on through this pandemic? I know we're a little off topic. I know we're going to go somewhere else, but I just want to know, because those people that might be struggling with that right now.
Yeah, I sold it to a guy, like we had experienced a flood in the business, and had a baby.
Oh,
and having a 4-year-old, I take care of my mother-in-law as well.
Okay.
Those kind of things, I'm like, yeah, I don't think I personally would have had the bandwidth to be able to maintain it. Not even with the pandemic, even if I had lots of money.
Really? Okay.
Because of priorities. I have a 4-year-old
right
now. Right. And there was some flooding. We were on a year-to-year lease. So I had a guy that kept asking me, what's your number to sell? And he came to me on the day after we had a flood that we had experienced a major flood. The store almost fell apart, or literally did.
Wow.
And we overcame it. And ultimately, instead of closing the business, we were able to sell it. And that was because of my banking yourself policy that I was able to do that. But making sure my priorities changed. You want to give, like when you're an entrepreneur and a business owner, like I gave myself 5 years at least that we're just going to live, breathe, and do all of this.
Right.
But also a way out of saying, okay, after this time, we can pivot if we need to, or something, right? And not feel guilty about that.
Wow. So
that's a hard part, selling a business or even closing a business. That's your child.
Right. Listen, I know that feeling. I deal with that a lot. People ask, what motivates me to keep going, especially if I feel like something's not working out, if you will.
Yeah.
It's very hard to let go, especially if it was your first.
Yep.
Especially if it's your first. Now, but here's my question. So we're going to flip it, though. What would be your advice for someone who wants to start their own business? We're talking about ending it, but how about if you want to start? What advice would you give someone?
Yeah, I have 3 things
that
I always tell people. One is know that you know that you know that you know that you know that you're called to that, right?
Okay.
Like really know deep down that I can only do anything else. It's not about the money, it's about the passion or something, because it's going to get hard. I remember 2nd year into the business, everything. I had my wife had a miscarriage.
Oh, wow.
My grandmother died, a cat died, appendix, all this stuff happened. And I mean, almost our marriage fell apart too, but we knew that we were called there and we overcame it. That leads to my second thing. Is have a team or mentors, people around you that can support you. So I had a spiritual guide director that I had that I'd meet with regularly. He didn't care about the business. He cared about how are you doing.
Right.
And I think we need that, especially in a COVID world where we are separated.
Yeah.
We need some connection.
Okay.
Right. And then the third is know your numbers. Too many entrepreneurs and business owners, I hear this. They're like, yeah, I like making sales, but I don't like numbers. I'm like, well, you better get good at numbers.
Right.
Because it involves everything from marketing numbers to how much are you coming in. And then most business owners, they fall in 2 camps. They either don't pay themselves anything, right? And they divest from themselves to other things, or they pay themselves way too much.
Right. Yeah.
And then they starve the business. And I think there needs to be a balance there.
So how would you suggest for someone to even find that balance? If they're not the ones that's good with money or managing that, and they don't feel as though they have enough money to pay an accountant or things like that, is there anything that you could suggest to those that might be caught in the middle, if you will?
Yeah, I think really understanding and being a learner, right? Just as much as you learn this other stuff for your business,
Right.
learning how money works, right? Whenever I was running the coffee shop, I said this to somebody the other day, 2% of all the sales went straight to a credit card company. Just on every purchase. I'm like, shoot, these guys don't even work here and I'm paying. Right? This is ridiculous. So some is learning how the banking system works. That's why I love Bank It Yourself, because it's thinking like a bank, and that, and knowing you don't have to have it all together. So one is always be learning, do a percentage model, pick up the book Profit First. Like that book is like gold when it comes to setting up a business, and run a healthy business, not what Mike McAllowitz says, a cash eating monster. No one wants to create a cash eating monster that just needs fed over and over. You want to create a business that you love and that loves you back.
So what is that Bank on Yourself framework? That idea?
Yeah.
What is that?
So the Bank on Yourself framework is kind of an insular thing from the Profit First. Profit First is a cash flow management system. And then once you get your cash flow management system kind of right, you have to put your money somewhere, right? So for me, I liked that my biggest investment was myself, right? My biggest risk was myself. And so when I was 2 or 3 years into the coffee business, my mentor is still my guy that I talk to a lot on money, but he told me about this Bank It Yourself concept, and was using, of all things, whole life insurance, properly designed with high cash value.
Okay.
So our biggest risk was our business, right? So I needed some safety and stability in place, right? I don't need to put it in the market and risk more. That's why I think we're in a situation now. It's because we're divesting to bigger businesses and not into our local economy.
Right.
So putting it into that, and then I'd have a percentage that I could use, and I used my cash value to take care of high interest debt, because when you start a coffee shop business, you don't really get business loans easy. You have to use credit cards, which is not the best way to go.
Right.
But they give you that entry fee and then 20% interest. And I'm like, shoot, we got to figure this out. So we used our policy to get out of debt. We used it to get through an emergency in the coffee shop. Then we paid it back, because you want to think about cash flow, right? How money goes in and out. If you're an investor in a business, you're going to want an ROI. You're investing someone when you get a loan to your business, you're giving, you want an ROI back, right?
Right.
So to pay it back. And then I used my policy to do a down payment on our house here in Ohio. We bought it March of 2020. I've paid that loan back again. I've been still funding into my future.
Right.
Right. But I'm using my policy for things of the present to grow my wealth. That's why it's not just, when we have our podcast name as Wealth, Wisdom, Financial. Wealth is not always money. Sometimes it's time, family. Right. There's so much more to wealth than just finance. And so I can build a better, healthy system for the long range, and ultimately give a big legacy to my son. This kid's going to be so better off than I am. I've already been to Aruba in December, and I was like, dude, I never got to do that.
Listen, I understand. I mean, I did not start my business until later on. My kids were older. So my kids right now are in college. I have a freshman and a junior. Well, they just finished their freshman year and their junior year. So I didn't realize how hard I was working, prior to. And then I started a company, and I invested so much time into them. I also lost myself in the company too, trying to balance the two, because I really wanted to be there for them. I was coaching football and basketball and things like that. So now I'm finally at a place where I can invest myself and fully engage myself into what I've been doing.
Well, and that's why we sold the business, because of having a newborn. You can't legally have a baby behind the bar. Right. I could starve myself and be ridiculously stupid, right? when it comes to health habits and things like that, which I don't recommend.
Right.
Don't do that. create habits, healthy habits from the beginning. But we could do that. I couldn't do that with a kid, right? And
Right.
There's a lot more priorities. And so, shifting as life shifts too.
So as we're talking about the infinite banking, bank on yourself framework, how would someone start to, because you see so many videos about it on Instagram and or Facebook, and you're not sure whether or not that's real or not. So how would someone even look into it a little further? Look into your website or talking to, how would someone get a little bit more information about that?
Yeah. So for me, this is the way I roll. I will never just run numbers on somebody. I want to do a questions and ask them, what are your dreams and goals? What are your concerns? How does a policy fit in? And you build the life insurance policy around it, right? Too many people are just selling a product. And it's not about that. It's about how does this fit into your overall system. So you want to find if it's not me, right? Which it should be, of course.
right.
And you can go to Grandma's Wealth Wisdom. That's our business name.
Okay.
If you want to talk about that stuff, go and schedule a meeting there. We do a full financial analysis, looking at assets, liabilities, credit cards, because some people are overpaying on credit cards and they're never going to get out of debt because they're just throwing $50 here, there, and they're not creating wealth.
Right.
And so thinking about that. So I like to really ask those questions, and you want to find someone who is not going to just create a, what do you call it? A fake one of them. Like they say, oh, I got it. I Googled it online and I can do that for you.
Right.
No. You want to find a person who is practitioner, has used it, does use it. The way I kind of think about it is the Hair Club for Men guy, right? I not only, am own the business, but I use the product.
Right.
That's what you need to be asking for, right? I think that's with anything, right? It should be.
There's so many scams out there. You're not sure who to believe, and like you said, fake accounts and things like that, and people showing money and stacks of money all over the place. Well, how real is that? But some people, because of our society, we get sucked into that sometimes.
Yeah. Well, and you told me that your main group of people listening are females.
Yes.
One of the things that I'm seeing, and this is it crazy, and is the financial services sector is mainly white males, right? It is changing, right? But it's moving from male to female. And then what's happening now is, and this is why females should think about it from not just give it to somebody else. Oh, my husband's going to take care of it, or whatever.
Right.
Take ownership of it, because statistically speaking, the husband's going to die first.
Yeah.
And the wife's going to be left with the bag and have filing single, right? And so that makes it a challenge. So take responsibility. If your husband's not going to do that, take him by the, I don't know, something, and get him to.
Right. Wow.
We have this is the thing. We don't have do-overs with this one life we have.
You're right.
There's no do-over. So learn, educate, start asking, where do I want my life to end up?
Right.
Now.
And I think that's one question that people don't answer, or they're not honest with themselves, is really what they want their life to really look like. And understand that everything is not going to be in a microwave also.
No, definitely not when you start a business.
Right.
Right. We think so.
Right.
Or I like to call, there's the entrepreneurs who always have those great ideas, who never actually act on them.
Right.
They're the entrepreneurs. And then there's the entrepreneurs. The entrepreneurs are the ones that are like, oh yeah, I feel you, I've been there. They got the arrows in the back. And you can tell the difference between them.
You can.
Right. Those entrepreneurs, they come and you're like, yeah, okay, come back to me in 5 years and let's see how it is.
Right. And so for me, with me being in business for 10 years, like I said, and dealing with the kids, I felt like an entrepreneur you know, because I have a lot of different streams of income, but I just haven't been able to build it up. Now, like I said, now I'm able to concentrate on it. And to your point of understanding, like, hey, here's what the balance is. Like, how do you create that balance? Everyone does not have that. You know, I really want to be in my family's life. Yeah. But that family is also the ones that's going to support you through this process. You know, they are just as important as the business, if not more. You know, so
and that's okay. Right. You just own it. I've told some people, dude, you don't have a business, you have a hobby.
Right.
That's okay. Have a hobby. You know, as long as you know that the priorities are what it is.
Right.
And you know, so you're not like trying to compare yourself to Elon Musk or somebody else, right?
Right.
We don't want to do that and then say, well, I'm not this, or, you know, I'm trying to be like this. So you puff yourself up.
Right.
You know, I don't know. Doesn't somebody, you know, I have a BS detector. I can tell.
That's cool. That's cool. Brandon, man, I appreciate you coming on today, man. Would you like to share how people could get in contact with you and what you have going on?
Yeah. So, of course, go to Wealth Wisdom Financial. We have a podcast. We have a YouTube. We also have a little playbook that we have called the Still Method playbook, or Still Method. And I'll go quickly on
chaos.
Chaos. So the acronym, and let me know if you think this is anything accurate. It's confusing, haphazard, anxious, overwhelming, and stressful.
Most definitely.
Does that sound like our life right now?
Most definitely.
And what I like is you can create a life you want, and it's you know, stopping, actually doing some practices, almost like we do with prayer, or we do with going to the gym, or whatever it is.
Right.
Spending time with your kids, it's a practice, right?
Right.
You had them learn when you were coaching, right? They did practices, drills. So we created this framework called Still Framework.
Okay.
And it's set your sights. You need to know where you want to go, right? Track your in and out, like see if you're overspending, you know, that kind of thing, budgeting.
Right.
Inspect your progress. You know, if I'm not doing certain things, I need to like change them.
Okay.
look for 1% adjustments. We don't overcome the mountain like just quickly, right? It's one step at a time. So look for 1% adjustments that'll move us in the right direction, and then live deliberately. That's the Still Method that my wife, she's amazing, created. You know, and so live deliberately in this, and you do this with your significant other on a regular basis. And you could do this when it comes to dating, or when it comes to the framework is the same.
Right.
You know, you write the questions, and funny thing, the questions may be the same, but the answers may change.
Of course. And they'll change at different stages in your life. Because of where you are at that time, what you've learned at that time, experiences, who's even in your life. Like you said, you know, it could be a girlfriend today and your wife tomorrow. It could be two totally different people, you know, but the answer is going to be different because everyone's focus is different.
Yeah, exactly. So go download Still Method. It's our gift to you. And we really want to see people build stability. And I want to see these business owners, because it's hard running a business. Right. We're up against big, giant capitalistic things. How do we support and create a community that is going to change the world?
Right. So Brandon, man, I appreciate all your information today, man. I really, really appreciate you, man. But you know, as I ask every guest before they go off, my would you rather question. Would you rather pick 3 doors, or pick a fork in the road?
I would do a fork in the road.
Really?
Yeah. So my wife actually thought about this, and she's like, imagine you get a fork in the road and Gandalf is standing there, and you could go and you could get, you know, this big amount of money one way, or you have no problems the other way for the rest of your life, right? Not going to be super rich, but you know, the other one will have, you get some money, but you're going to have some pain associated. which one would you choose? I'd probably go left versus right, because I want to build some stability and sanity in my life.
Right.
Versus just crazy money wealth.
Right, and I agree. I was sitting here listening to you and your answer. I don't think I would want all the money in the world. I wouldn't want that, because that has its own stress, if you will. It can be overwhelming, if you will. I don't mind the little bumps and bruises here and there, because that's how you learn. Yeah. And then and you pass on that information to the generation after you and the generation after that, and whatever it is. So yeah, I think I would like that route too. But that analogy with Gandalf, that's funny though. I like that.
There you go. I bet you no one's ever said that before.
No, they haven't.
And she would probably do it a lot better. So you're going to have her on the show to ask, because she would say it. And, I'm like, yeah, that's pretty good.
Right. So Brandon, I appreciate you, man. Thank you very much. Everyone, his links and stuff will be in the description. Thank you very much for coming on, Brandon.
Cool. Thanks for having me.
All right.
Loved what you've heard on this week's episode? Well, the answer is simple. It would mean the world to us if you could head over to iTunes and leave us a 5-star review and feedback. Spreading the word really is the best way to grow our podcast and achieve even greater things. Thank you.
With Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to... Has anyone seen the bride and groom?
Sorry, we're here. We were getting lucky in the limo and we lost track of time.
No, Lucky Land Casino, with cash prizes that add up quicker than a guest registry.
In that case, I pronounce you lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Daily bonuses are waiting. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Judy was boring.
Hello.
Then Judy discovered ChumbaCasino.com.
It's my little escape.
Now Judy's the life of the party.
Oh, baby, mama's bringing home the bacon.
Whoa, take it easy, Judy. The Chumba life is for everybody. So go to ChumbaCasino.com and play over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.